All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Good Data product journey. What's new in Q4 and beyond webinar. I'm really excited to have you here with us today. I'm Ryan Daly, VP of Product Strategy here at Good Data, and we have got a lot of really great, useful, powerful stuff to show you about what has come into the product in the last few weeks, what you can expect for the remainder of Q4, and what you're going to see in Q1. So buckle up. There's a lot of awesome stuff to show you here today. So before we get started, a few housekeeping points. Everybody's muted upon entry, so you don't have to worry about blurring out your incredible, excited reactions and everybody hearing you. We got that covered. Send your questions through the Zoom Q&A box, okay? I am going to be reading them live. So if you get a question in, I will do my best to answer it live or ask one of our product managers who will be walking us through some of the new features and doing demos. I'll ask the question live. We'll just try to make it as interactive as possible. It's more fun for you. It's more fun for us. So get those questions in and we will ask them right away. And then, of course, as always, we will send a follow-up email with a recording of today's presentation to all attendees. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Now, there's a lot of cool and useful stuff that has gone into the product over the course of Q4, and we're really going to highlight three major advancements that we've made that are available to you now for you to start using. That would be flexible dashboard layouts, so a revamp in how you're able to arrange objects on the screen. It gives you much more flexibility in your presentation and storytelling within Good Data. Data federation, the combining of data across multiple sources, say 2 or 3 or 4 databases into a single visualization. And then finally, what we call FlexConnect. FlexConnect is kind of a build your own connector that allows you to create a connection to custom data sources or APIs or internal databases that you've built where we don't have an out-of-the-box connector. And then it also allows you to do some very clever and powerful kind of in-flight computation to that data as it's moving from your data source into Good Data. So very exciting stuff. And then finally, we'll wrap it up with a roadmap where I will show you what is coming in Q1 of 2025 and also give you a preview of our long-term strategy here at Good Data, what you can expect from us over the course of the year. So we've got 3 presenters here today. I've already mentioned myself. I'm Ryan Daly, VP of Product Strategy here at Good Data. I'm joined by Jan Franek, who's our Senior Product Manager, and Jakub Sterba, our Principal Product Manager, to go ahead and walk you through these demos. Jakub and Jan, you want to give yourself a super brief intro here before we jump in?
Yeah, sure. So, hello everybody. I'm Jan, and I work at GoodData for right now almost half of a year, and I'm dealing primarily with the AI and UI related things, so improvements in the core product of GoodData, GoodData Cloud and GoodData Cloud Native, and also accompanied with some AI related functionalities and improvements there.
Hello, and I'm Jakub Sterba. I'm product manager in GoodData for 10 years already, and I'm mainly focused on our analytical engine and analytics as such.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So with that said, let's talk about what products do these updates apply to. This is really important for you to understand. If you're an existing Good Data customer, you probably know this. We have really 3 products here at Good Data. We have what we call Good Data Platform. That is the product that has been around for a long time. If you purchased Good Data a decade ago and you've had success with us over the years, this is the product you're probably most familiar with. And then we have Good Data Cloud and Good Data Cloud Native. These are the more modern versions of Good Data, one that is a SaaS offering running on the cloud, and the other that is a kind of an on-prem piece of software you can run on any data center on Kubernetes. The new features we're talking about today apply to Good Data Cloud and Good Data Cloud Native. And that's an important thing for you to understand as a Good Data customer, is that these are the products that are receiving almost all of our new feature investment going forward. So if you're not on Good Data Cloud or Cloud Native yet, and you like what you see today, reach out to us and we can put together a plan to get you migrated over so you can start taking advantage of all the innovation we have going on Good Data Cloud and Good Data Cloud Native. So with that said, I'm going to hand things over now to Jano to talk to us about flexible dashboard layouts. Take it away, Jano.
Thank you, Ryan. Let me take over sharing the screen. So let me share with you a few updates around the improvement for analytics engineers or dashboard builders. They are giving them more flexibility around how they can build a dashboard, how they can be more flexible, and how they can improve their storytelling towards the end users. First of this feature is about decreasing the minimum width of the visualization. So it's possible to combine multiple or more visualizations into same row, into same view for the dashboard consumers. And it's also possible to adjust the size of the visualization to the maybe number of the data points or to the importance of the information that you would like to communicate as dashboard builder to the end audience. So this is rather small improvement, but in combination with the second feature is really powerful because you can achieve more flexible and more dynamic layouts on the dashboard. I will show you in the moment how this works in the practice and what's the difference. This feature it's available already now for all customers that are using our Good Data Cloud or Good Data Cloud Native products. So you can utilize that already now and immediately. The second functionality, it's building on top of this flexibility around the size and how it's possible to squeeze more information, more content into the same screen, but it's going even farther. And with this functionality, it's possible to build more like stacked visualizations, one visualization stacked above another, next to some larger visualization that is next to it. This is like long-awaited features. We have heard the requirements or feedback about that from you as our client for quite some time, and now we are finally came to the point where we are addressing this. This functionality is at the moment available as experimental feature on Good Data Cloud. And we are actively working on like tuning the user experience, improving some intuitiveness, how to handle the building procedure using this new component that we call container. And using this container component, you are able to like place multiple visualization inside of it and be more flexible how you're organizing the content inside of that. So of like theory, and let me show you directly how it looks within the product. So let me start building the new dashboard, and let me show you first the functionality around the size of the visualization. So until now, or until we have rolled out this functionality, we have been optimizing the size of this visualization, minimum size of the visualization, to the majority of use cases. And therefore, we have optimized this to, or we have defined this minimum size of the visualization to 3 or 4 grid columns. These grid columns, you can see they're defined or visualized also by these dots that you can see on the upper side of the screen. And we have been optimizing to ensure that, okay, for 90% of the cases, how we can ensure that we are able to display the information properly to the end consumers, and that information is always readable and easy to consume. But what we have also identified is that there are cases where the number of data points is much smaller, or where the information that dashboard builders are trying to communicate has a lower importance. And for that situations, it would be much useful to have also possibility to like decrease the size of the visualization and work with this further on. So therefore, we have enabled the minimum size of all type of the visualization to be set to 2 grid columns with only exception, and that exception is GeoChart. where the minimum width of this visualization is 6 grid columns because of the technical reasons, underlying technical reasons, where this width is really limited by these 6 columns, and we cannot go below because the information would not be displayed properly. But for all the others, it's possible, where it makes sense, it's possible to like squeeze the size to 2 grid columns, and we are leaving this decision where it fits and where it fit not to the dashboard builders.
Yeah, and we do have a question, a couple questions. I would sum them up as why 2 and why not 1 grid column as the minimum size?
That's a good question, because we have been considering that, but with 1, what we have realized is that the number, or there would be much higher number of the situations where the information would not be readable anymore. Therefore, we want to be more careful. Maybe we would take this step also here, but we would not enable this minimum width of 1 for all visualization, but we would more carefully test and validate where it makes sense and make it possible for those types of visualizations, and for the rest keep this width of 2.
And then I think the same question applies, like, okay, minimum, is there a minimum height?
There
One of
is
the
also
questions.
certain minimum height, yeah,
Mhm.
defined.
So this is this, okay. And it's roughly the same.
It's roughly the same, but could vary also depending on the visualization, but yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so let me remove this visualization, and let me demonstrate how to build this more flexible layout where it's possible to combine this stacked visualization next to one larger. So I will start with the container, which is new component that you can find on the left-hand side in the menu. And now into that component, I can start adding additional visualization. So for example, I will start with the KPI for total sales, followed by, for example, sales by customer, another KPI. Underneath, I can add line chart, or and then I can extend it, that container, and next to it, I can also add, for example, total sales breakdown. And underneath, I can include, let's this one. So let me just adjust also the height. So, and next to it, the most important part, of course, because I'm speaking all the time, that you are able to combine this stacked visualization next to one larger. So, for example, here I will place the Gantt chart. And I can name it test dashboard. Save it. And this is how it looks then in the view mode for the end users. You may ask also, what are the additional customization possible to this setup? So it's possible also to define whether you want to add some titles. By default, we are keeping this hidden because based on the feedback that we have collected is that it is not really like the first thing that is needed inside the container to be added, but it's possible to make this extra action and define title, like for example, sales overview. And and in this case, it would become visible also in the view mode. Another thing that is also possible, it's possible to combine the container inside of the container. So if you want to really build more complex visualizations, more complex dashboards, I can add here also the container inside of that, inside of the first container. And let me place here the KPI values. So for example, total sales and net sales. And next to it, I can add seasonality. So also inside of the container, you can combine stacked visualizations, and I'm just sharing here example of like 2 stacked visualization, but you can add there like even 3, 4, 5, depending on your needs. You can combine as many visualizations as you want, as it makes sense to the story or to the narrative that you want to build with your dashboard, and you are limited basically by your imagination. The container is also supporting all the visualization types and interactions that are supported by the standard visualization. So for example, I can also use cross-filtering by clicking on the specific product category here, or I can drill down into the details of the total sales trend and so on. So all of this like interactivity or the additional functionality that they have been used to in the past, this is also supported out of the box in combination with the container. In order to be able to use this functionality, you need to activate the experimental feature that you can find in the settings for the organization. You need to scroll down to the features that are in early access. It's called flexible dashboard layout, and you can select on which workspaces you want to activate this, and on the selected workspaces, this new container element will become available, and you can start combining this into your dashboard. So that would be it from my side, and I'm handing over back to you, Ryan. Are there any follow-up questions or?
Yeah, there's a couple of questions here. So we've got one from an anonymous attendee offering to send me a Green Bay Packers hat to replace my Detroit Lions hat. So I'm going to have to decline that. Go Lions. Then we've got a question just in general. Are we going to be able to preview how dashboard tabs will work once they're released? So I think we're not previewing that today, but that is a Q1 topic that we'll be working on in the first quarter. So you can expect some information about dashboard tabs soon. That's a Q1 deliverable. And then finally, and this is just a piece of feedback, I think, and this is a good request, the rich text visualization. So the use case they have is they want to display icons, but the minimum size of 2 by 2 is still going to be too big for like displaying an icon. So they would really like the rich text object at least to be able to go down to 1 by 1. And that's a good argument for why that one should be able to go to 1 by 1. So I think as far as the minimum size is concerned, we've taken everything but maps down to 2 because we're quite confident that every visualization is still usable at that size. Some visualizations will be usable at 1 by 1, and maybe for those as Jan said, we will enable 1 by 1 sizing. Other visualizations are not going to be usable at 1 by 1, so we kind of at this point we kind of have to go on a case by case basis if we want to shrink them any further. But that's a great piece of feedback. Okay. Jan, thank you for the demonstration. So now we're going to switch gears here and invite Jakub Sterba to walk us through data federation and FlexConnect. So Jakub, take it away.
Yeah, hello. So I will demonstrate these 2 features of our analytics lake, and I will do one combined demo of both features at the end. So the first feature is data federation, which lets you seamlessly connect data from multiple sources without need to copy data to central place. We have released already a beta version of it in the summer. And now we are improving this feature, and we are removing beta status of this feature. So previously, the only way how to integrate multiple data sources with GoodData was to use ETL pipeline to extract data from multiple sources, load it into data warehouse, and connect as one data source to GoodData. Now we are offering also possibility to connect multiple data sources to the same semantic model in one workspace, and use metrics built on top of it. And with this type of integration, the data integration is decentralized, this on-the-fly integration. So the data can basically fly into the reports without need to store them into slow storage. You can use it for implementation of some real-time use cases, but I will speak also about other types of use cases in a minute. The reason why I speak about these real-time use cases is that in this type of integration, you don't need to load the data first into the data warehouse, and therefore there is not this unnecessary data latency. So the improvement that we are releasing now is that we now support technique of data blending. Previously, you could create metric for data coming from each data source and present each such metric as a separate visualization on dashboard. And now, with this data blending technique, we can aggregate the data in each data source, transfer only a small amount of aggregated data to GoodData, and display in one visualization. And this visualization can use some common attribute for breakdown, or this common attribute can be used also for filtering. On a roadmap, we have also possibility to create metrics that will summarize data from multiple data sources. And good thing is that it in the improvement that we are delivering, some simple metrics, like for example, some from multiple regions, work already, and we will be investing into supporting more use cases. These metrics also can be sliced by common attributes and filtered by common attributes. Now, what I mean by common attributes? Common attributes can be, for example, date attribute like year, month, or quarter of a date dimension dataset that is connected to datasets in multiple data sources. Like here in this example, expenses are stored in Snowflake, and exchange rates are provided as a CSV file. Both of them contain a date, which is mapped to the same common dimension dataset, and therefore I can use the date for filtering or for breakdowns. Also, other regular attributes can be common attributes. For example, here I have currency attribute, and currency exists as a foreign key in expenses dataset, and also as foreign key in exchange rates, which is in different data source. And therefore, it is possible to calculate, for example, sum of amount in Snowflake, and, for example, average exchange rate in a CSV file, and then combine these results together using the same currency attribute. So there is a requirement that these common attributes must be defined as a primary key in the dimension dataset, and they must exist in form of foreign key in the different data sources that you want to combine. Also, these references to dimension tables are usually some numeric keys, and the users may want to see some textual description. So for example, here currency can be just some numeric code, or it can be ISO code of currency. And if I want to display nice textual description of like currency name, like American dollar, we have labels for this. And we support these labels in data blending. So you can have that labels for attribute defined in dimension dataset. They don't need to exist in all the underlying fact tables distributed in multiple data sources. Now, let me speak about possible use cases. So the first use case is that you can combine data from multiple regional data warehouses and provide global view. For this use case, it even doesn't matter if the data are stored in private or public clouds. It can be like mixture of it. And you can use also different database management systems. So you can have one region stored in Snowflake, for example, and another in Azure. And GoodData always generates appropriate SQL dialect using appropriate SQL using SQL dialect of the database, and it then blends results together using our analytic lake capabilities. The second use case is a blending of historical data, which are typically stored in some data warehouse, with real-time data that can be obtained from some API or a Kafka stream or whatever. For this use case, we support different caching strategy for each data source. So you can, for example, cache the data from the data warehouse, but you can query data from a real-time data source directly. The third use case I will talk about, but there are probably even more use cases, is when you provide some data to end users in some read-only database. These users may want to enrich such data with their own stuff, like their custom goals, their forecasts. They can have their own stats that do not are not stored in the database, and because the database is read-only, they cannot insert such data into the database itself. For this use case, they can use GoodData. They can upload their own data as CSV files, and thanks to like data federation, they can access them in one data model, and thanks to the data blending, they can even use such data in the same charts, and they can, for example, provide textual descriptions for dimensions. They can add additional series into some visualization. So now I was talking about support of multiple data sources in one workspace, in one model. But now what data sources you can connect? So for these multiple data sources, actually we support all types of data sources supported by GoodData. We have about 20 out-of-the-box connectors that you can use to connect basically all the major cloud data warehouses and common databases. And now we are adding new feature, FlexConnect, that lets you extend this list of data sources with additional data sources. It can connect to APIs or any data source, no matter how niche it is. You can connect even directly into proprietary interfaces of your applications and things like that. You can connect to real-time data sources like Kafka streams, or you can connect to unstructured data, for example, stored in MongoDB. These are just examples that I'm mentioning here. But if you go into our GoodData blog, you will find there published articles which demonstrate some of these use cases and you can read it how to do it. One of these use cases is also machine learning, which is interesting one because with the traditional approach, you would have to do predictions probably in your ETL pipeline at the data preparation phase, and it would be just static. Here with FlexConnect, you can integrate predictions of machine learning models on the fly. So they can also respond to user inputs like applied filters, etc. Another interesting thing about FlexConnect is that you can add there your own custom algorithms inside and implement your business logic. And thanks to that, you can, for example, do some additional data governance. You can, for example, restrict access to some data, or you can anonymize data. You can provide benchmark data while you are not giving access to the detailed data about each individual competitor. And you can do there also some last mile data cleansing. I will show one such example in my demo. And then you can use all this data wherever you want in our user interface, or you can embed it into your user interface or access data through APIs or SDKs. And this FlexConnect feature is built on top of Apache Arrow and Flight RPC protocol. So it is very efficient. It transfers data in a columnar format. And basically, we reduce need for deserialization and serialization because we use also Apache Arrow in the heart of GoodData in our analytics engine. So basically, data provided by FlexConnect are already prepared in a shape that they can be analyzed by our engine. New connectors, of course, need to be implemented by code, but you don't need to start from scratch. We provide a template on GitHub, which you can clone and just tweak few configuration parameters and insert that business logic into a sample function that is provided. And you can have a first version of like working connector. Once you are done, you can deploy this code into a Docker container, or you can even run it without the Docker. And we support horizontal scalability, so it really scales even to thousands of users who would access data through such connector. When you have a connector, you can add it as a data source into GoodData, like you add any other data sources. And in Modeler, where you build a data model, you create data sets, and these data sets are typical mapped to tables or views of the databases or CSV files. So for FlexConnect, you have to map data sets to a table function, and one FlexConnect data source can have one or many such functions. And when GoodData needs some fresh data, it calls this function. This function can apply any custom logic, retrieve data, for example, from external source. Like in my demo, it will be retrieving data from Yahoo Finance with exchange rates. And then these data are handed over to GoodData, and in GoodData, we can even run SQL queries on top of it, so we can build metrics based on the data coming from this interface that aggregate further the data and things like that. Or you can even blend it with other data sources or data coming from other data sources using the feature that I described before. So now let me jump to demo. So here I have a demo data about some expenses that are stored in Snowflake. And I have exchange rate coming from Yahoo Finance that is connected through FlexConnect. And I have a date dimension dataset as like that common dimension, and I have currency as that common dimension, so I can demonstrate also how I can blend the data together. And I also added some weather forecast data from weather API, also connected through FlexConnect. Now let me go to dashboards. And here you can see a dashboard that shows exchange rates. So for example, here you can see that it is basically the same exchange rate that is in Yahoo Finance, and you could see that it changed there. So it is changing all the time. We see the fresh data. And when I go to expenses dashboard, here you can see how I can merge the data obtained from FlexConnect with other data. So here you can see amount column is coming from that expenses data set in Snowflake. Exchange rate is coming from exchange rate data set that was connected via FlexConnect. So these are data from two different data sources in the same chart. And here you can see actually a custom business logic that I applied into the connector. So in Yahoo Finance, you can hardly find exchange rate from US dollars to US dollars. So I had to fill one for this currency to have easy life in analytics. And it is built into the connector, and I don't need to care anymore about this special case. Also, you can find, for example, here that Forex markets are usually closed during weekends. So custom logic that is applied here is that it replicates closing rate from Friday also to the weekend days, which is Saturday and Sunday. So I've built it right into the connector for convenience, and then I can, for example, calculate this relatively simple metric, converted amount into US dollars. I basically calculate sum of amount for each currency and date, and I multiply it by exchange rate. Here for one currency and date, there is just one currency, so I can use any aggregation function. I just used maximum, and this metric basically calculates some subtotals, and I can sum them together so that when I go to Analytical Designer, I can extract such metric from the catalog and calculate currency and display trends by quarter or month. And I can even display how each currency contributes to the total in US dollars. And this is thanks to the data federation, I have just one data catalog. I don't need to care that the data are coming from different sources. I can even place such a visualization on dashboard, and of course it will respect filters, and I can also use drill down and features like this. All this is thanks to the semantic layer that we have, and I don't need to write different queries for different databases and things like that. It is very simple for me as an end user. So basically, some administrator of the system can prepare the model, integrate multiple data sources, and then it is very easy for end users. And they don't need to do this blending of data from multiple sources on ad hoc basis for individual charts. They can take advantage of having model for that. And last example here is I have here some breakdown of expenses per category coming from Snowflake, and here I have weather forecast coming from that weather API. And here I want to demonstrate you that this dashboard is filtered for a specific city. So if I display, for example, data for Barcelona, this chart shows that currency in euros. And here, this chart shows weather forecast for Barcelona. If I select, for example, Boston, it will update the weather forecast for Boston. And you can see here, I have units attribute, and I can choose Celsius as a weather forecast. So as units for the weather forecast. So basically, these two filters actually are interpreted by FlexConnect as input parameters, and it asks just for the data for the city that I have selected, and it selects appropriate units. So this is something like if you would want to implement it in traditional way, you would have to upload data into data warehouse for all the cities, and you would have just static data. Now it obtains these weather forecasts on the fly in real time. So this is end of my demo. Before the questions, I want to repeat again that we have a lot of content, not just in documentation and documentation of that template for building FlexConnect, but we published also a lot of articles that are accessible through our blog, and there is even a product tour that you can follow and see also like the builder experience a bit.
Awesome. Thank you, Jakub. There are a couple questions slash statements, so I'll read those and get your feedback on them. So the first one is says, Jakub, awesome stuff. Right now we combine data from multiple databases in SQL views prior to GoodData, but in the future, could we possibly combine all that stuff within GoodData instead of in SQL views? And yeah, the answer is yes, right?
Answer is yes, and these connectors they also they don't get only information about filters, but they get also information which columns are required. So unlike static views that provide only certain level of granularity, you can build this more dynamically. So you can like through this provide data on different levels of aggregation and etc.
Excellent. And then this is and this kind of leads into the roadmap conversation. So this is an excellent question, anonymous attendee. But the question is, coming from a current platform user, do you see data federation as a step closer to the current use cases for legacy platform users where data is loaded into a managed data store?
I think there can be still like use cases where it is like more optimal to store data in one central data warehouse if you really want to have quite good structure of them. If you need to process a high amount of data volume, here this data blending still has some limitations in the modeling, like what type of relations are supported and etc. So still data warehouses have its place, but there are many use cases where this can serve the use case better, like the real time or integration with unstructured data, for example, and such.
Awesome. Thank you for that. That was an excellent demo. So the last piece we want to talk about today is going to be a discussion about the roadmap. And that last question leads into it really nicely. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. And then we can talk about what's coming in 2025, both in Q1 and in general for the year. So GoodData roadmap. The question again was about, okay, if you're a platform user, the way platform works is it's kind of an all-in-one solution. So it's a data, fundamentally, it's a data warehouse combined with, the analytics tool is one way to think about it. And so this attendee's question is, well, does data federation take us a step closer towards that sort of world where maybe GoodData can provide the data platform and the analytics and BI on top of it in all in one package? And the answer to that question is fundamentally yes. So where are we heading overall as a product? We have in 2025, and you're kind of the first people to hear this outside of the company, so congratulations. But in 2025, we're really focusing on three key product pillars. We call those GoodData Business Intelligence, GoodData Artificial Intelligence, and GoodData Analytics Lake. And what those three pillars are designed to do is make it very easy for you to have BI, AI, and data platform capabilities all within GoodData. If you're a GoodData platform customer, you're on that legacy platform, the answer is yes. By the end of 2025, we will have built within GoodData Cloud the ability for you to ship all of your data to us, for us to store it, for us to do all the calculation and transformation within GoodData, where you don't need an outside data store at all. There may still be situations where you want one. Many of our customers, especially GoodData Cloud customers, already have big investments in platforms like Snowflake. That's great. You don't need to you don't need to move your data into the GoodData Analytics Lake. You can leave it in a data warehouse. You can move it all into the Analytics Lake. You can do a combination of the two, where maybe you're storing data in Snowflake for kind of long-term analytics storage, but for hot data, you move it into GoodData for performance purposes, for example. So that's the long-term roadmap. Kind of three product pillars or three product modules: business intelligence, which is BI front end that you know and love; artificial intelligence, which we're going to be launching the first iteration of in Q1, and then analytics lake, which is kind of a high performance in memory data marts combined with efficient long-term storage. All of that will be available by the end of 2025 within GoodData. So it's quite an expansive vision and roadmap where we will be able to kind of offer you a one-stop shop data product platform that can handle all of your data product needs, from displaying the data, providing you with AI capabilities, and then storing and computing the data in a super efficient way. And so if you're interested in any of these things, where, this is what you're going to be seeing in 2025. So we're actively looking for people to help us beta test various parts of this. In particular, GoodData Artificial Intelligence. We're doing a beta test now of GoodData Artificial Intelligence. So reach out to us if you want to participate in that. And then the Analytics Lake, probably in Q1, maybe early Q2, we'll probably be looking for some beta testers for some of these capabilities as well. So if you're a longtime GoodData customer and you're on the GoodData platform, I think this is really good news. Your migration path from GoodData platform to GoodData Cloud is very clear now, and will be really much easier, probably by the midpoint of 2025. And then if you're a GoodData Cloud customer today, you've got a lot of great enhancements coming your way over the course of 2025. So this is our long-term strategy. We will go do deep dives on all of these things in the new year, but we wanted to give you, our customers, a heads up and give you the first heads up of what's coming as far as the GoodData strategy is concerned. So Andy Miller does say platform user here again. Thanks for that. This is great news on the roadmap. Yeah, thanks, Andy. I'm really excited, I think, for what we're going to be able to offer in terms of the breadth of capabilities and the performance that we're going to be able to deliver with the analytics lake. It's really going to be pretty special. So we're glad that you guys are along for the ride with us. Now let's talk about what's coming in Q1 specifically. There's three things. Again, you can see the three pillars here. In fact, Jakub said something about analytics lake capability during his presentation, and I realized that we'd never introduced that concept to our customers, most of them up to this point. So now you know when we say analytics lake what we're talking about. So across the three product modules, what can you look for in Q1? So as far as AI is concerned, what we're going to be delivering in Q1 are two main things. A batch of features kind of around chatbot and search. That means the ability to search existing content using natural language and find pre-existing content. And then if there is no pre-existing content, the ability to take that natural language query and generate new content using it. So you can imagine what we've designed it for is, we know that you have created a lot of great visualizations and metrics and reports and dashboards for your customers. We want it to make it as easy as possible for them to find that content that you built. That's critically important. And then for them to be able to go beyond that content using natural language to author their own visualizations, for example, or answer their own business questions. So you can look forward to that in Q1. In addition to that, we're looking at how to start to use AI to enhance certain visualizations within the product itself. So that could be outlier or trend analysis, the ability to create written data stories based on the data, and the ability to describe data on a dashboard. Imagine you're looking at a chart and you've got a line chart of revenue over time, and then you've got a natural language description of what is driving the changes in revenue over time. Those are the sorts of things we're looking at, and we have prototypes of with the hopes of starting to deliver in Q1. Now, when it comes to the analytics lake, that kind of data storage and computation technology we're working on, you're going to see continued enhancements to the data federation that Jakub shared today. As well as the ability to give you much more control over that Apache Arrow-based in-system cache, right? So you'll be able to now control the load of data into cache for all your workspaces. Say you've got a workspace, a premium workspace, or a super important customer, and you want to assign more cache and preload data into that workspace so that you can guarantee you have incredible performance for that customer. You'll have the ability to do that and the ability to schedule that. So you can now start to analyze your usage patterns and schedule the load of data into our cache on both a workspace and data set basis in order to give the best user experience possible to your customers. This is the first step towards that kind of full service data platform within GoodData. And it's built on the same technology we will use when we eventually give you the ability to create your own data marts within GoodData, for example. So this is a huge move for us and for you as far as performance is concerned. And then when it comes to BI, there's a number of things we're looking to deliver. Simplified workspace management, so just making it easier for you to build, maintain, and edit your workspace hierarchy. Enhanced customization at the tenant level. So to have more the ability to customize field names or customize metric formats or add data into a parent or child workspaces that doesn't exist in the parent workspace. We're building all of that out further in Q1. And then a few other things. There's always, every quarter there's a grab bag of most requested features. Export overhaul is going to be a big one. So in Q4, we delivered scheduling and alerting and the ability for you to create alerts that detect data conditions and send out emails or update Slack or update an application through an API integration. Now we're taking a look at the actual objects you can build and distribute from GoodData and doing an overhaul there. So that means the ability to distribute both dashboards and individual visualizations via PowerPoint, via Excel, via CSV. We're greatly increasing the cap we have on the amount of data that can be processed by GoodData and distributed via a CSV, for example. So you're going to see all of that over the course of Q1. where by the end of Q1, you'll be able to say, look at a dashboard and export it to PowerPoint, and via that export, we will create a title slide and a slide that contains all the filters that were applied at the time that the dashboard was exported, and then individual slides for the visualizations or sections of the dashboard. So you can really easily bundle up a very nice presentation and distribute it from directly within GoodData. Someone asked about dashboard tabs earlier, and that is also something, it's not on this slide, but that's something that you'll see coming in Q1 2025. Okay. So with that, I want to thank Jan and Jakub for their excellent demos. It's really exciting stuff. I hope you can see that the pace of innovation is really picking up here at GoodData, and we have a very exciting 2025 ahead of us. So thank you for tuning in. As always, if you have any questions, reach out to us. We're happy to do a deep dive on anything you saw here, or deep dive on the roadmap, get your feedback on it. And then finally, where can you keep up with us? We're very active on LinkedIn. So if you don't follow GoodData on LinkedIn, if you're not connected to myself and Jakub and Jan, do connect to us there. Maybe the best place to get GoodData news, honestly, is on LinkedIn. Of course, we have a newsletter. Subscribe to the newsletter. You always get product updates there. Connect to us. Join the GoodData Slack and connect to us there. And then finally, we have a great blog. There are very deep dives on many of the topics that we covered today, written by Jakub and Jan and our engineers. They're all available on the blog. Check them out to stay in touch with us and up to date on what we're doing at GoodData. And so, yeah, with that said, I want to thank you all for joining. I want to thank Jakub and Jan again for the great demos and presentations. And thank you for being a great customer of ours. And we look forward to working with you and delivering all these innovations and more in 2025. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody. And we will see you in the new year. Bye.